All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our weekly team Zoom where we get together once a week for 30 minutes just to cover some important topics for the week. Um, Caroline, I'm glad that you're officially contracted and getting those carrier contracts completed. So, officially, welcome to the team. And as soon as you get those new photos taken, send them over to us so we can get you your business card and get you some welcome graphics done as well. And I'm going to jump right into it, guys. So what I sent you guys on the text, right, was we're going to cover weekly schedule. So I'm going to show you guys where to find that. Two, within the agency handbook, we talk about using the Ivy Lee method for creating your daily schedule and how that works. So I created one that I think works well for new agents, right? It gives you all the things that you need in order to be successful during the day. We're going to talk a little bit about funnel, and then at the end of that, I'm just going to leave it open to questions. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right. So if you guys go to vhillteam.com, right, or VHill Agency, um, well, this is weird. VHill Agency. This should say VHill Team. Why is that? Interesting. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Oh, if I learned how to spell.
The New Mexico air, it's getting to you.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, and I'm going to copy this that way you guys can just take it from the chat. All right, posting this in the chat. All right. So this is our call schedule for the week. And granted, you guys don't have to attend every single call. I want you to remember that, okay? So the ones that we ask you to be on, right, are choose a daily huddle that you want to attend weekly. I recommend the Thursday one just because we have the highlights from the previous week. This call, right, once a week where we meet as a small agency. And then on Wednesdays, we have the national call. And then on Sunday nights, there's the Danny Young call. There's a couple of national corporate calls that are there as well, right? So like funnel training or deep dive is another good call to join as well. But what I did is I put it together in a single place for you guys to be able to find, right? So the virtual success office is open every single day. It's a place where you can go and hang out with all the people that are on the leaderboards, right? It's open 24/7 usually. There's dialers peppered throughout the week there, and you can just join by clicking this button. It'll take you there. If you're new or you need some accountability, we have our accountability crew, which meets Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's 15 minutes. We cover your previous day's numbers, and then usually I'll play some different videos or share some different things that I find help with finding some motivation. So that happens at 10 a.m. Eastern. It's 15 minutes. On Tuesdays and Thursdays for the accountability crew, and I don't have this on this sheet, but I recommend that those people that are in that accountability crew go to the Jim Larson call. And that one happens a little bit earlier. That happens at 9 a.m. Eastern. For daily huddles on Mondays, we have dialing success. And like yesterday, we had Anthony Mendocino and Marissa Turner, two of the top two agents in the master agency, top 10 in the country. They hosted yesterday, right? And Anthony hosts once a month, Jama Foot hosts once a month, and all of them, almost all of them, I think, are $1 million producers at this point. And that call runs an hour. That's every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're building a team, we have the same type of call for our Zoom for everyone. And I highly recommend joining that one if you can. And then we also have this call, right? So you guys are here now, so I don't really have to cover that. On Wednesdays, if you're new, we have our new agent orientation. And tomorrow I will be hosting that one. So I'll be doing that here from New Mexico. That one happens in the virtual success office. But one of the key things I want to point out is you do have to go to the breakout room labeled new agent orientation. Okay. And that one is, it runs right about an hour. And then on Wednesdays, if you're not new, there's open forum Wednesday on the Daily Huddle. That one's a 30-minute call. And the reason for it being 30 minutes is because agency owners have a meeting that happens every Wednesday at that time, half an hour into that meeting. So then on Wednesdays, we have the Cemetery National Call or Zoom. That one you just go there, and that one usually runs 90 minutes. Sometimes it goes a little bit over, but outside of that, it's usually right at 90 minutes. And then on Thursdays, we have the weekly regional master agency call, which is part of the Kim Brown Master Agency and all the different 130s that are there. We cover, weekly announcements, leaderboards, recognition, culture building as well. And that one runs an hour. On Thursdays, for those of you guys that are spiritual, we do have some time after that call where, people that don't want to stay on, they can jump off. We turn off the recording for that. And anyone that needs to ask for prayers or praise reports or anything like that, you can do that there as well. And then on Fridays, Mortgage Protection University, it's not a requirement, right? But if you want to be successful here, we recommend that everyone go ahead and get into the Mortgage Protection University. And then they have a specific link for that group. If you haven't signed up for Mortgage Protection University, go to SFG Quotes and get signed up there today. And then, like I mentioned earlier, Danny Young, 30-minute call. He calls out all the new writers for the week, anyone that has not written a policy before and did, and then anyone that has 3 apps or more. And Danny is just full of wisdom. Okay. So the reason I show you guys this early on is because I want to make sure that you guys have those things that you can go ahead and put directly into your schedule. So the next part that I'm going to cover, we talk about the Ivy Lee method. The Ivy Lee method is a way to work on 6 tasks throughout the day, and you don't move on from one until you complete it, right? So the night before, and that's where this is key, right? Is preparation the night before. You spend 15 minutes, maybe the things you didn't accomplish, you write them down. You also cover your wins, you know what I mean? Things that you can get better on, and then you apply those to your calendar for the next day. So what I'm going to share with you guys here is an example that I created for new agents, okay? This isn't really for seasoned agents, although it can be adapted for that, right? So this is the Ivy Lee method daily schedule for a new agent. So for me, mine starts at 5 a.m., right? And you guys can adjust this based on how you guys do things. So the night before, 15 minutes, review the day's accomplishments, identify and write down 6 most important tasks for tomorrow, and then rank them by importance and impact. Importance to you and maybe impact to your business. Okay. So like for me, I wake up at 5 a.m. and I do my cold plunge. Right. That's the first thing that I do. And then I go right into my daily devotional, and then I'm doing like Bible in a year, right? So I spend that time with that. And then I go into my personal development reading. So I read whatever book I'm reading for now. So right now I'm in a John Maxwell book, and then I also have another one um, for ministry stuff that I'm working on in leadership there as well. And then I have my workout time, right? So prioritize your health and discipline because healthy is the new wealthy. Let's be honest about that. And then I have my breakfast time in there, right? So here, I put include foods that will give you consistency and are good for your health, right? So, and what I mean for consistency is something that doesn't take 45 minutes to prepare, right? Things that, you can prepare in advance. If you're a meal prepper, you can do that throughout the week, you know what I mean? But just something that's going to give you the energy that you need throughout the week. And then at 8 a.m., review the list from the Ivy Lee method list, right? So focus on one task until that's completed before moving on to the next one and avoid multitasking. I had always prided myself on being a multitasker, right? But what I realized is that I was maybe not accomplishing things in the best of my ability. So what I learned to do is just focus on one thing and then move on to the next. So for instance, Chuck asked me earlier to help him with something, right? And after this call, I have 30 minutes built into my schedule to work on those random things that need to be taken care of, right? So I'll do case follow-up and different things like that. And then I'll work on getting Chuck what he needs. So here's an example of 6 things as a new agent that you can use, right? So dial 80 plus new leads via the switchboard funnel. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute, right? So this is one of those income generating activities that you can do. And what I recommend when you're doing your dials, right, is make sure that you have a time block set aside for that. That way you can get through that first part of what you need to do, right? And then next follow up with, 10 warm leads, or if you have any pending applications that you need to get approved, if you need to work on contracting, if there's some training that you need to get done as well, like Chuck is working on his long-term care, so that might be something that he does there, right? And then if you're new or you're working in Summit, so work on the base camp training if you're new. If not, you'll be working on the next section of Summit. And then whatever call that you have for the day, right? Make sure that you get that one in there and knocked off as well. And then the key to this business is booking 3 to 5 sits for the next day. So if you're a full-time agent, you're looking for 12 to 15 appointments throughout the week. So make that a non-negotiable, right? Get your minimum of 3 and you want to get to at least 5. And then this is one that I think is important because social media is, the culture that we live in. So make sure that you're posting something relevant about yourself, about something that you enjoy doing, and then, maybe someplace you want to visit, and then like every fourth or fifth post, make it about the business, right? You can post something about, an impactful story about, maybe a conversation you had with the client, maybe something that you did following up on a death claim, any of your wins, anything like that would be as well, you could do as well. So after you've done your first one of these 6, right? Then take some time, reset, take a break, have your lunch, whatever that is. And then if you have another team meeting that you need to be a part of, something like the one that we're on currently, right? Or if you want to get back into getting your dials. And then you'll sit in your appointments. And then at the end of the day, you'll want to review the different things that you need to do, right? So if you need to follow up on an application, if you need to follow up on, making sure that your license in a different state has been approved by a carrier, any admin work that you have on stuff like that. And then I think this one is something that a lot of us miss, right? Is evaluating your progress. So did you complete all your tasks? If you didn't complete them, what can help you accomplish them the next day, right? And then anything that you may not have accomplished that day, move it to your list for tomorrow and then get that reprioritized. So if something was fairly important today and you didn't get it done, right, you might want to make that the top of your list for tomorrow. And then, I put dinner, unwind, or whatever else you have there. For us, that's, going to baseball practice, going to the pool, whatever those different things are, right? So the Ivy League method also it says, no more than 6 major tasks per day. So the goal is to focus on clarity and not really overextending yourself. Because as a new agent, there's a lot of things that go on throughout your day, and you want to be the best and you want to learn everything. But what we found is that when you overload your day, you're not going to retain all of that, right? So, and then you want to accomplish your most important tasks first. This ensures that you have the energy to spend where you're going to get the highest return on your investment. And then you can base your task based off of your personal values or agency core values, right? So for me, mine are integrity, personal growth, and legacy. So I'm going to pause there for a moment. Does anyone have any questions on any of that? Because I know being a new agent, there's always a lot of things like, well, what should I be working on? What's most important, right?
Can you post that in the WhatsApp chat?
Oh yeah, I'll post that there, and I'll actually post it here as well. That way you guys can go ahead and download that. Here. Anything that you would like to add to that, Brenda?
No, I was just going to commend you on including, and that's something that I even forget about doing is the practicing, right? So like, even though as you get more experienced, you still have to practice your trait. And so, reviewing your script or reviewing, appointments and thinking, okay, like where could I have done better to get a better outcome? Things like that all come with practice. And sometimes I let that slip by the wayside, thinking that more appointments is going to be better, dialing is going to be better, when in regards to just becoming better at what we do is essential too.
Yeah, absolutely. I take time to review the script, especially when home office makes some little adjustments to the script or something like that. I take time to learn it and make sure that I understand it. Because if you guys have questions, I need to be able to answer that as well, right? And then if I take a call or someone, pops through my funnel, I need to be able to, adapt and adjust as well. So I am constantly learning. Something that Brandon and I do a lot of, right, is interviews. So, even adjusting our interviews, what we reevaluate and we see what's working for us, what's not working for us, what helps spur people to action, what doesn't, right? And Brandon and I have lots of little conversations throughout the week via text. Sometimes it's just one or two texts, right? But those are impactful. Like, hey, what are you doing for this? Or do you have a solution set for this? And we work through those things, right? And if I don't have an answer, maybe I'll ask her to seek the answer. If not, I'll say, hey, I'll get back to you with an answer on that. And then we just reconvene and once we have the answers on those. So one of the things that we are going to focus on, right, is funnel. And the reason why I want to focus on funnel is because it helps us track our metrics. You still, when you go through Basecamp, one of the things that they have you download is the activity form, right? The activity report. But part of funnel, it also tracks your metrics there. So if you are out and about, let's say that you're at a baseball practice like I am, right? And you take a couple of phone calls, right? It tracks that for you. So when you get back home, you can go back and look at funnel and be like, oh yeah, look, I had two conversations and I booked one appointment that you may have forgotten to write down on your activity form, and then send that to whoever your mentor is at the end of the day. That way they can help you if they see that there's something off with your numbers, right? And that's where the accountability crew comes in as well. So like I'll talk with Chuck or I'll talk with Joseph, like, hey, you had a lot of dials today. You talked to quite a few people, but maybe you didn't set quite enough appointments. So I'll ask them what happened during those conversations. And then if there's something we can work on, we'll cover it at that point. If you have not signed up for Funnel, I recommend you guys do that as quickly as possible. There is a fee associated with that. Like we tell everyone, it's not mandatory, but it's one of those things that helps your business. It helps you grow with your business. Chuck, would you say that your dials have gone up since starting to use Funnel? You're muted, Chuck.
Yeah, I had dogs barking in the background, so I had to
Oh,
get
gotcha.
it there. But yeah, definitely much better. Just the
That's
ease of the whole process is much better.
Yeah, what I noticed is that his dials practically doubled the very first week he started using it. So he hadn't quite hit 300 and he went over 300 like his first week using it. So it just helps you get through that process, and it makes it a lot easier than punching the numbers in the phone, right? Putting it up to your ear, punching the numbers in your phone, putting it up to your ear, because it just automatically cycles through that. And you can set it up however you want. You can have it do one dial at a time, right? Or you can have it auto cycle where it goes through that system for you. So, all right, this brings us to the last 10 minutes. And this is where I just answer any questions that you guys might have, any concerns that you might have, or if you need help with anything, this is the time where we do that. So, anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is will there be a point where Funnel kind of breaks the customers that just want to text only out because it doesn't show up in your dials? Because I've had two of them that they're like, no, I'm just texting, and they don't want a phone call. And I've actually had to go through the whole, which is a pain to go through all the questions through a text series, but I've done it, a couple times now. So, but it just doesn't, I didn't know if they were going to, as that becomes more prevalent or,
Okay. So
yeah.
there's a new iteration of Funnel coming out on August 9th. So they're going to release that right before conference. And it's going to integrate some of those things that you're just asking about, Chuck. And it's also going to make the phone app way better. Because right now you have access to be able to do things, right? And they rushed it out intentionally just to get people the access that they wanted for the people that are mobile, right? Since we're all remote and we work from wherever we want, they wanted to make sure that you had that functionality. But now they're optimizing it for mobile. So it'll be a lot more user friendly, and it's, optimized for us to either use from an iPad or a cell phone. But yeah, they're going to be able to track those metrics a lot better, and they're working on different ways and they're taking that feedback. So if you guys ever have that kind of feedback as well, there's a section within Funnel. There's also a little chat button, right, where you can give those suggestions. And they review those suggestions every single week. And if they notice that there's most agents are asking for something very similar, that's something that they put on the workflow, and then they get it integrated as quickly as they can. And that's the nice part about us owning the technology, right? And it being built in-house is that as agents need different things, they can be built by our own tech team and be implemented right away. Whereas with Go High Level, that wasn't available, right? You either had to get a plugin or you had to work through a third party to get that integrated. Now, Tim Rollins, the chief engineer for that, right? He's such a tech guru, and he attends all the different things that come with AI, with workflows, with functionality, with integrations, and he's able to build those directly into Funnel for us. Hope that answers your question, Chuck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So something that I will cover real quick, because this week is a confusing week for a lot of people, right? Because we're July 29th. So in a lot of people's heads, we're July, right? So anything that we write today should be considered for, or should be counting for July. But we got to remember that the cemetery week runs from Friday or from Saturday to Friday. So the cemetery month ended on Friday last week on the 25th. But we're in a weird time. We got the 26th through the 31st, right? So anyone that's been here and has already been contracted with the company, let's say that Michael Chilton goes and writes a Mutual of Omaha IUL Express and it's instantly approved. And it gets approved and it gets paid by July 31st. Well, the submit numbers will count for August, but if that gets paid by the 31st, that issue paid numbers will go towards July. So if you guys have any questions on that during one of those odd weeks, just reach out to me and I'll share with you guys what will likely happen in that scenario. Like Chuck wrote a policy at the beginning, or I guess more towards the middle of July, and there's the likelihood that it can still get issue paid by the 31st. So he can still get that issue paid for the 31st, which would help the overall agency, right, on our issue paid numbers. So there's some weird things that happen like that. So like Caroline, who's brand new, right? She just got contracted, officially contracted yesterday with her NPN number and able to submit carrier contracts. If she submits an application today, the likelihood of it issuing before August 1st is it's like maybe like 90%, right? Like that it'll get issued in August. I mean, it has a 10% chance of getting issued between today, tomorrow, and Thursday. If that does, those numbers would count towards July. But realistically, it's probably going to be August. And it's that weird gray area that we have here. And it happens when we have where the weeks just don't line up properly, right? So, but that being said, August is considered a 5 week turn-in for us. So if you're gunning for a promotion, right, 80 from 80% contract to 85, you have 5 weeks to hit that $5,000 issue paid number in order to get your first contract raise. So like Michael and Caroline have a good, and Kenneth, right, they all have a good opportunity because now you have 5 weeks. If you do $1,000 a week, then you can do that over 5 weeks instead of over 4 weeks. But if you ever have questions on anything like that, just feel free to reach out. We'll do our best to get you the best answer that we can. All right. Anyone else have questions? Caroline, are you excited and ready to get going?
Yeah, I felt like it took forever to get my license. I'm like super ready.
Awesome. Yep. We'll get you integrated. I know you got a meeting with Brenda set up already, so she's great at getting her agents started quickly. So I sent a couple of friend requests out to you guys. That way we can get you added into different groups, like SFG Success Group. And some of them wouldn't allow me to send you because we're not friends or we don't have any friends in the circle. So if you guys can just find me on Facebook, I'll get you added to the 2 different Facebook groups that I think would be beneficial for you. Just because I can't add certain people. Once you get over like a certain number, like they don't allow you to add people that you don't know personally, right? So if you guys have an opportunity, send that to me and I'll get you guys added to the different groups. And they're good because like if I'm not available, like Thursday and Friday, we'll be driving, right? Thursday, Friday, possibly Saturday, we'll be on the road. So if you send me a message, I might not be able to get to it. But if you go ask it in the WhatsApp group or the Facebook group, right, you might be able to get an answer faster than waiting on me to answer you. So a good opportunity to use that group think, right? Crowdsourcing is what I call it, crowdsourcing. All right. Anyone else? Nope. So if not, I'll get the IBD method posted in the WhatsApp group as well. Don't forget that we have vhillteam.com as a resource for you guys. The password for that is Thrive 2025 with a capital T. Okay, so Thrive 2025 with a capital T. You'll put in whoever your mentor is. So like for Michael and Caroline, that would be Brenda, right? Chuck, Omar, Kenneth, that would be me. And then that'll get you in there. There's some training videos, different things like that. There's access to my calendar. So if you need a coaching call with me or you just need help with something, you can just book time directly on my calendar without having to text me like, hey, do you have a couple minutes to chat? Just go and book your time and then I'll be on there. So with that being said, guys, we're pretty much there at the top of the hour. If not, a couple other things. Conference coming up in 2 weeks. Make sure your flights are booked. Make sure your hotels are booked. If you guys are looking to team up with someone for a hotel room, put it in the WhatsApp chat. I don't normally share a room, but this would be one of those times where, because the family's not traveling with me, that if anyone needs to split a room or anything like that, just let me know. Happy to do that. If you guys already have a room booked, that's fine. We can always we have a couple days, right? You can do it like 3 days before. You can cancel it with no fee. If you guys want to split costs or anything like that, just reach out to the WhatsApp and we can make some connections there for you all as well. Okay. 2 tickets left at the discount that we have left. So I highly encourage all of you guys to get to conference. And for those of you guys that are brand new and haven't had a contract raise, if you register for conference, the ticket cost is $199 with the discount. I'm bumping people from 80 to 85 just to help offset those costs. So if you're writing policies, right, you're going to be able to get that additional bonus as well, right? That extra 5%. So if you're a brand new agent that has not registered for conference, that's one of those little incentives that we're doing to try and help you guys get there, right? That way you guys can earn more money on your policies. Always reach out to your agent mentor and talk with them before you make those decisions as well. So with that, guys, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and see you guys tomorrow in the huddle. Talk soon. Peace.
Hi, guys.